There we go. We're in the book of Esther, chapter 1, and it reads, "And it came to be in the days of Ahasuerus, he is the Ahasuerus who reigned from India to Cush, 127 provinces."
Xerxes, just like
that's Xerxes right there.
That's King Xerxes.
Oh my gosh!
I
would have never known.
I read it in the NLT study Bible this week, same chapter.
Let me just keep my net out, just to have it side by side.
Yeah,
Doug did a good job and read ahead this week, which is what we should all really be technically doing, being prepared.
This is why.
Yeah, it says Ahasuerus.
Artaxerxes.
No, it's not Artaxerxes. It's King Xerxes.
No, it's not Artaxerxes. No.
Nope.
There are two different kings. Xerxes and Artaxerxes, two different kings. Anyone who's listening in, two completely different kings.
All right. Sorry if you're feeling confused right now, everyone. Yeah. It's H325. Ahasuerus means I will be silent and poor. Title of the king of Persia, probably Xerxes. So it's like an assumption somewhat, but probably a valid
almost every English translation has it as Xerxes.
Okay. Verse 2. In those days, when King Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his reign, which was in the citadel of Shushan, which was in the palace. Wow, Net has citadel too. That in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast for all his officials and servants. The power of Persia and Media, the nobles, and the princes of provinces were before him. 4. When he showed the riches of his esteemed reign, and the splendor of his excellent greatness for many days, 180 days. I really don't like the grammatical sentences of the scriptures. And when these days were completed, the sovereign made a feast lasting 7 days for all the people who were present in the citadel, in the what?
Palace.
In the palace of Shushan, from great to small, in the courtyard of the garden of the sovereign's palace, of the king's palace. White and blue tapestries were fastened with cords of fine linen and purple on silver rods and marble columns. The couches were of gold and silver on a mosaic pavement of porphyry, marble, mother of pearl, and black marble. Interesting. And the other version says gold and silver couches displayed on a floor made of valuable stones of alabaster, mother of pearl, and mineral stone. Let's see, verse 7. And they served drinks in golden vessels, and vessels being different from one another, with much royal wine, according to the hand of the king. And drinking was according to the Torah, or to the law. No one was compelled, for so the king had ordered all the officers of his house that they should do according to each other's pleasure. That was a little confusing to me. I'm going to read in a different version. Verse 8, there were no restrictions on the drinking. That sounds different than what I read here. For the king had instructed all of his supervisors that they should do as everyone so desired. Wow. So I think people definitely got drunk. Queen Vashti also gave a banquet for the women in King Ahasuerus' royal palace. Verse 10. Anybody got any questions so far? No?
Nope, I'm looking.
Good.
Dear.
I was like, oh man, people won't get wasted. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was glad with wine, he ordered Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 eunuchs who were in attendance, in the presence of King Ahasuerus to bring Queen Vashti before the king with her royal crown in order to show her loveliness to the people and the officials, for she was lovely to look upon. So she was beautiful on the outside. She was attractive. Verse 12. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command brought by his eunuchs. And the king was very wroth, and his rage burned within him. Now, are these two related?
Who?
Ahasuerus, is that his queen?
Yeah, that's his wife.
Vashti's the queen.
Yeah, Vashti is his queen.
Yeah,
That's
Vashti's
his
okay.
his
wife.
queen.
Yeah.
Oh snap! She's not submitting. He got mad. Where we at? Verse 12. Refused to come. Refused by the eunuchs and the king. 13. So the king said to the wise men who understood the times, for in this way the king's matter came before all who knew law and right ruling, and who were close to him. Karshena, Shathar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsena, Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, who saw the king's face, who sat first in the reign, in the kingdom, who sat first in the kingdom. Verse 15, according to the law, what is to be done to Queen Vashti, because she did not perform the command of King Ahasuerus through the eunuchs? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Queen Vashti has misbehaved not only toward the king, but also toward all the princes and all the people who are in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus. For the matter of the queen shall go forth to all women to make their husband despised in their eyes when they say, King Ahasuerus commanded Queen Vashti to be brought in before him, but she did not come. And this day the princes of Persia and Media shall say to all the king's officials that they have heard of the matter of the queen with plenty of scorn and wrath. Verse 19, if it pleases the sovereign, let a royal decree go out for him, and let it be recorded in the laws of the Persians and the Medes, so that it does not pass away, that Vashti shall come no more before King Ahasuerus. And let the sovereign give her royal position to another who is better than she. Dang.
Okay, can we?
Wow, let's talk about this.
Since we have so many married couples here, can we discuss that? Because I'll be honest, I read this and I'm at a toss-up.
Okay.
Between the reality of women submitting to their husbands, right? Something that we go through on a weekly, daily basis, and what you say, how should I obey? Is it, if I don't want to do something you want to do, is it okay to back down and say no? Versus the other side. So I kind of want to get your takes on this, because at the same time, I'm like, all right, she was a beautiful woman. He's drinking. So his heart was very merry with wine, it says.
That's true.
And he wants to show her off. Now, I will say this.
He wants to show her off. That the text did say that.
So I will say this, for those who have read it, we know that there's obviously a greater plan that Yahuwah used. So I get that with the salvation of our people. But I want to hone in on how to walk in a marriage between a husband and a wife and all this. Because, if my husband was flaunting me in that way, I don't know if I would actually appreciate that as much as feel like I'm being like, I don't know, that's me more prostitutish. I feel like that's what I got, versus when he actually compliments me in a nice manner. So I just want your thoughts, to be honest, on this, because I read this and I was like, I'm at a toss up. Obviously I need to respect him, but so.
Anyone? Any hands?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Brother Doug.
In
What you got
my
to say?
in my opinion, according
Single
to
unmarried man.
see, I'm gonna get isolated now. This is great. All right, here we go.
Tell him, Doug. Teach.
1,000 hate
Tell
comments
us.
coming. All right. All right. So basically, I'm actually on the guy's side because in their law, she's supposed to be obeying him. So basically, they're forced to banish her because if she doesn't obey him according to their, even pagans had laws, and she's basically rebelling against her husband. I mean, it might not have been the nicest thing he was trying to do, but still in their laws, she's supposed to obey the king. And I understand that's maybe not what an Israelite marriage is like, but she did know the laws before becoming his queen. So it's kind of like she's doing it to herself. So, and we don't know the whole story. She could have just been, oh, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. I don't want to go out. Like, she could have done it for a selfish reason. We really don't know.
My only thought was this wasn't an original law because from what I gather in verse 19, it says, if it please the king, let there go forth a royal commandment from him, letting it be written among the laws. That he's now adding a law so that the women of the land won't do like she does. So I don't think that part was an original commandment. Within their laws.
I don't know what to say about any of this, bruh.
I'm surprised.
I don't know what to say. Because I'm seeing law. I thought law was Torah, and then I'm like, yeah, we're talking about pagans here, so
Pagans have their own laws.
yeah, this could be like
It's not Torah.
Muslims,
Their
you know what I mean?
laws.
They're probably a little stricter with how they treat their wives in the Middle East than we are. That doesn't make it right. I don't know. I wasn't expecting this woman to get put away. Yeah, this wasn't Torah. Rick on Facebook says, yeah, this wasn't Torah.
It's their laws. It's the pagan
Cindy
laws.
Hawkins says, I don't think the wife should obey it if it is defensive.
I think offensive.
Offensive to the Most High. Right. Good point. Rick says this is their laws. Correct. So yeah, for me, it doesn't seem to apply to me because I don't go by their laws. I don't live by their laws.
I'm thinking more in the.
But in an earthly sense, like if we live in America and we know something's wrong, even though it's not in our law to obey the law of the land, if we don't do it, we can expect the consequence because we disobeyed the law of the land. I think that's what Doug was alluding to. That's all I got to say. I mean, I'm kind of shocked. It sounds like he's about to put her away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's
pretty
some
extreme.
hand raises.
That's pretty extreme. All right, hand raises. Derail. You are unmuted.
Yeah, let's just say, yeah, it is the Persian and Medes law, the law of the Persians. So that wouldn't be Torah then at all, right?
No. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I wasn't taking as in Torah. I just meant the aspect of women obeying their husbands and that. I mean, I think he went to the extreme.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But there was Yahuwah used this. Yahuwah used that.
Sure.
Yeah, he was
here for a reason.
Yeah, because we're gonna see that it was needed. But but I just want to get to the reality of when a woman doesn't want to obey her husband just because she don't feel like it.
That don't make it right. That don't justify.
No, I'm saying like, all right, I'm
just because
tired.
somebody's being extreme
That's
and divorcing his wife over some small disagreement doesn't make disobedience okay.
Yeah. If
I gotta obey my boss at work even when I don't like what he's asking me to do. You know, how much more should a wife to her husband who's her head? You know? So
that's
where I stand with that.
That's the only reason I lean towards.
Every now and then, we can back off as men and give women a break. You know what I'm saying? We don't got to be like on them all the time. But jeez, it doesn't make it okay if your husband's asking you to do something. You're like, I don't feel like it. If he really wants you to do it, you got to do it. It's that simple.
I think why they said according to our law we have to banish her. They went on to say though that if we don't do this, it's gonna spread. And
Yeah, all the women are gonna start being rebellious. They're gonna become liberals.
Obstinate. They're gonna become obstinate, like how Israel became obstinate to Yahuwah. So they're trying. It's almost similar to the Torah where Yahuwah says, "Banish this evil, get this like disease out of here." It's like a disease. It's like he rebels against him. It's obstinate against him. What's gonna happen to the whole kingdom? Every wife is gonna be obstinate to her husband. So it's almost like Xerxes is like, let's get rid of this. I hate to say that, like a cancer. Right?
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't know. That again, that's a man, and that's a Torah-less person speaking from their flesh, I believe. Oh, Brother Sam wants to get in. Sam, you are unmuted.
I'm not, well, obviously, I'm not a married man, but from my point of view, you know, to keep it simple, if both the man and the woman are following the Torah, if they're living lives according to Yah, then yeah, I feel as though the woman should have faith enough to believe that whatever her husband is asking her to do is coming from the Most High, and that's that. I mean, as long as both of them are Yah abiding citizens, you know. So, I mean, to keep it simple, I mean, I hope it can be that simple, but you know, I hope that evil never finds its way in to the man's heart or whatever he's asking, you know.
Amen.
Nice.
Good point. Who else? Somebody else?
No, they.
Oh, sorry. Let me put my hand down. Okay.
Gotcha. All right. And somebody's on here on Facebook. We got Ronan Marlies. He says, is that verse 13? H1881 da, which means of uncertain, perhaps foreign, deberation, a royal edict or statute, commandment, commission, decree, law, manner. And Rick Marlin responded and said, now, if we are talking about two Torah-loving married people, hubby shouldn't be asking his wife to do something against Torah. Agreed.
Like Sam was saying. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, this situation is
showing off your wife as if she's some kind of supermodel on a what's the catwalk. Yeah, I don't think that's of Yahuwah, in my opinion.
I don't think that's what I think we would be assuming to say that's what he means by having her come out here and showing her off. I don't know if he was trying to have her dance.
I don't think that's not even wise to do for your other brothers in the kingdom. Like, why would you do that to your brothers? You know your wife is pretty. You know she has outer beauty. And you're going to flaunt her and make all the brothers struggle? Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah.
All right. Let me finish this chapter here. I was at like verse 20-ish.
Yeah.
And the king's decree which he makes shall be proclaimed throughout all his rule, great as it is, and all the wives give esteem to their husbands, both great and small. And the word was good in the eyes of the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan.
Rick Henry's.
All right, last verse. So he sent letters to all the king's provinces. I don't know when it's king or kingdom.
King's
so
provinces.
they write sovereign in here all the time. The king's provinces, to each province in its own writing, and to every people in their own language, that each man should be master in his own house and speak in the language of his people. Wow, that's pretty interesting words here. Where are we at? Oh, Bobby, you are unmuted.
I just want to bring it back to verse 110. It doesn't say on the Sabbath day or on Shabbat. It says on the seventh day.
Yeah.
The seventh day of the feast, I think.
On the seventh day of the feast?
People even believe in? Is it the seventh day of the feast? So it's the last day of the feast then.
Yeah, that's what it looks
It
like.
says verse 5 that he gave the feast for 7 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Good job, Doug. There it is.
So-
Verse 5.
In context, that's what talking about the feast.
Thank you.
No problem.
Good catch, Bobby.
They probably didn't keep the Sabbath anyways,
Oh no.
right?
Pagan.
Bobby, they probably didn't keep the Sabbath anyways. They just call it.
Doubt it.
They just call it a 7th day. It's just a 7th day to them. Another day of work.
It's there for a reason.
All right, let's see. Anybody else on Facebook? Let's see what we got here. Got some participation here. Nope. All right. So, who would like to read the next chapter? Derail. Good stuff, my
I like
brother.
that you could physically
Unmute.
see people.
I raised my hand for real. I couldn't find the button. All right, chapter 2. After these events, when the wrath of the sovereign Ahasuerus had ceased, he remembered Vashti, what she had done and what had been decreed against her. Then the sovereign's servants who attended him said, "Let lovely young maidens be sought for the sovereign, and let the sovereign appoint officers in all the provinces of his reign, and let them gather all the lovely young maidens to the citadel of Shushan, into the women's quarters under the hand of Higai, the sovereign's eunuch, guardian of the women, to give their preparations. And let the young women who pleases the sovereign be sovereigness instead of Vashti." And the word pleased the sovereign, and he did so. In the citadel of Shushan there was a certain man, a Yehudi, whose name was Mordecai, son of Yari, son of Shimei, son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been exiled from Jerusalem with the captives who had been exiled with Yechoniah, sovereign of Yehuda, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the sovereign of Babel, had exiled. And it came to be that he was raising Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. The young woman was beautiful and of good appearance. And when her father and mother died, Mordecai took her as his own daughter. Verse 8, and it came to be when the sovereign's commanded and decree were heard, and when many young women were gathered at the citadel of Shushan into the hand of Haggai, that Esther too was taken to the sovereign's palace into the hand of Haggai, guardian of the women. And the young woman pleased him, and she received loving commitment from him. So he hastened to give her preparations and her portions, and gave her 7 choice female servants from the sovereign's palace. And he moved her and her female servants to the best place in the house of the women. Verse 10, Esther had not made known her people or her relatives, for Mordecai had commanded her not to make it known. And every day Mordecai walked about in front of the courtyard of the women's quarters to learn of Esther's welfare and what is done to her. Verse 12, now when the turn of each young woman came to go into the sovereign Ahasuerus, after she had completed 12 new moons, according to the regulations for the women, for the day of their preparations were completed as follows: 6 new moons with oil of myrrh, and 6 new moons with perfumes and with preparations of women. Thus prepared, the young women went to the sovereign, and whatever she asked for was given to take with her from the house of the women to the sovereign's palace. Verse 14. In the evening she went, and in the morning she returned to the second house of the women, into the hand of Shahashgaz, the sovereign's eunuch, guardian of the concubines. She would not come into the sovereign again unless the sovereign delighted in her and called for her by name. And when the turn came for Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her as his daughter, to come into the sovereign, she sought no matter but what Haggai, the sovereign's eunuch, guardian of the women, advised. And Esther found favor in the eyes of all who saw her. Verse 16. And Esther was taken to sovereign Ahasuerus into his royal palace in the 10th new moon, which is the new moon of the Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the sovereign loved Esther more than all the women, and she found favor and loving commitment in his eyes more than all the maidens. And he set the royal crown upon her head and made her sovereigness instead of Vashti. And the sovereign made a great feast, the feast of Esther, for all his officials and servants. And he proclaimed a release in the provinces and gave gifts according to the means of a sovereign. And when maidens were assembled a second time, Mordecai sat with the sovereign's gate. Esther had not made known her relatives and her people yet, as Mordecai commanded of her, for Esther obeyed the command of Mordecai as when she was being raised by him. In those days, while Mordecai sat within the sovereign's gate, two of the sovereign's eunuchs, Bigthan and Teresh, doorkeepers, were wroth and sought to lay hands on sovereign Ahasuerus. Verse 22. And the matter became known to Mordecai, who informed sovereigness Esther, and Esther spoke to the sovereign in Mordecai's name. And when the matter was searched into, it was confirmed, and both were hanged on a wooden structure. And it was written in the book of the annals in the presence of the sovereign.
Wow. I'm trying to find out what Yahuwah feels about all this. I'm having a hard time because this is something that's going on in captivity. All right, here are Israelites in a pagan nation, in a pagan world, almost like we in America. And here an Israelite woman is being given to a pagan king. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but to me it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Doug?
Don't be a spoiler alert.
Yeah, no, it's okay. No.
Do you want it to be spoiled?
You read ahead, so you earn the respect of teaching a little, Doug, or giving us a little.
I actually remember this story before because actually she's being used to save the Yahudim people.
Okay.
And that's what Purim is actually about, this story.
And Mordecai knows this? Mordecai knows this, like he's got this plan too?
No. Esther knows what her purpose is, though. She knows that, that she's going to be, she believes that Yahuwah is going to be choosing her to basically save the Yahudim people by marrying Xerxes, because it's going to end up, I forget who it is, but someone's going to end up in his kingdom that hates the Yahudim people. Is going to try to get him to turn against the Yahudim, and she's kind of used by Yahuwah for leverage. Kind of be his queen and being like, no, these are my people, don't do that.
So with that being said, we got 10 minutes left. That goes to show all of us, especially me. I'll be the example. I'll be the guinea pig right now. I'm only reading this at face value, not knowing what's going to happen. And there's many times where we can look at a situation that seems very un-Torah or ungodly. It doesn't seem right, but Yahuwah has a purpose with it. And that is a cause for warning for all of us to be careful when we're judging certain matters. That goes to me too, because I'm quick. I'm reading this story and I'm like, if I was living that day, I'm like, Esther, get away! Get away from that heathen man! You're not them. You are one of us. That'd be me. Repent! Repent! Get out of that pagan palace! I'll get shot. You get shot. But yeah, that's exactly how I'm feeling right now. That's exactly what I feel. That's my zeal, the passion I have for Yahuwah and the Torah, and to be like, the guy just put away his wife for what? Like, I'd be like, what is this guy? You don't want to be with this guy, but just like Doug said, he read ahead, and Yahuwah has a plan. So, any other thoughts? Anybody got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just keeping it real.
No, yeah, I think that's good, because there's the reality of there's Torah that we should not be unequally yoked. But at the same time, people should not use this as an excuse to be unequally yoked. People will run the whole other gambit, but you don't know, because I feel
you don't know. God has a plan.
Yeah,
my husband might be the porn industry leader, but it's okay. He's got a plan.
Yeah. So, but no, in all seriousness, so there is the reality.
He runs a pimp club.
But no, in all
You
reality,
need to read Esther. You didn't read
Oh my
Esther.
goodness.
Here we go. We're good. Do some
All right, I'm
editing.
sorry.
Pause for a second.
All right. I'm done.
No, but there's the reality of, you know, not being unequally yoked. Oh my goodness, babe. We have to end this recording.
We're gonna have to edit like that right out.
Nah, because I don't want to joke about being unequally yoked though, or people.
Black churches be
trying
the
to-
first
trying to do
churches to
that.
try to justify that.
Here we go.
They be the first ones. They the wildest ones.
We need to
All right, I'm
exercise
sorry.
raising the hand
Okay,
button.
okay.
Raise your hand.
I need to raise my hand. I'm sorry.
But I mean, there's the reality of like I said, with Torah saying, "Do not make covenants with other people, other nations, lest they turn you to their mighty ones." But then you have stories like this where Yahuwah was using this. I don't believe Esther knew what she was getting into. I don't, based on the rest. But he did use her, and I think that's his sovereignty. And I do think you bring up a good point in regards to having discernment of the times that we are in. You know, it's the same way with Samson. Samson had desires for other women of other nations, a Philistine, and his parents were like, "No, don't. What are you doing? She's not of our kindred." And yet Yahuwah used that so that he can actually destroy the Philistines. So I mean, there's, you know, I think it's Yahuwah. You know, definitely use Yahuwah's sovereignty. We can't use that as a cop out to do the things that they've done. I mean, I think he raises up specific people, and I do see her. I know this may sound weird because we usually equate all more than men as how you say what's the word where they're like, oh, they're like Messiah, like what we call Joseph. Joseph is a type. I think Esther, although she's a female, is a type of Messiah because she does end up being used to save her people. But yep, and it's very interesting though, just if you're looking at face value, that at this time she has not made known who she is or what she is, where she's from, that she's an Israelite, that she's, you know.
That's a good observation. I did not catch that.
Yeah.
You sure? Nobody knows?
Obviously Mordecai knows, but not in here.
The king doesn't know.
King doesn't know, and I will find the verse before this dies. In verse 10, Esther had not shown her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. That was one of them. And then another.
That's a good catch.
Now, who's Mordecai again?
Mordecai's her cousin.
Yep, we're about to finish.
Okay.
About to finish. Let's end it right here.
And jump back in.
Jump back in.
All right.
Thank you, D-Rail.
Someone just messaged. What?